Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Establish the Collection. I'm Cody Main, joined as always by my co-host, Gary Hartman. Gary, how's it going, buddy?
We've reached a dozen, Cody. I like it. 10
Double digits.
Double digits. It feels good. I like the energy off the top. We're ready to go.
I'm ready. We're riding high off adrenaline from Trae Young's. What can you say at this point? This dude is insane.
There's no words anymore. I mean, he's exceeded all expectations. I mean, that happened long ago, but now, I mean, it's just at this point, he's ice Trae. He's ice cold. I mean, nothing, no one can stop him. Nothing can, and it's incredible. And it makes me feel better about my Knicks loss, by the way. The fact that they're now up 1-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, come on.
You feel a lot better losing to somebody like Trae after he does that against Giannis. I messaged you. We were deciding when we were going to record. I messaged you like 2 minutes, 3 minutes to go in the game. I was like, man, Giannis is that dude.
Yeah. And he looked great tonight. He did.
He did. He looked amazing. But it turns out Trae is that dude.
Not enough for Trae.
Yeah. Sick. Just an awesome performance.
It really is. And it's good to see. It's good for all the little guys. I know you don't know this about Cody. We've never met in person, but I'm 5'6". I am not a very tall human being. So it's very good for us in our stature. And he's doing great things for the little people of the world.
I've seen a few full body pics of you, Gary, just browsing your Twitter. And
Thank you.
I think the one that sticks out the most is Nerlens, you with Nerlens. And that's really tough to gauge your height. But
I could be 6'2" in that one. And it still looks small.
Oh man. We're riding high off playoff basketball, obviously. And we realized as we were thinking through show topics last week that we're 10 episodes in and we haven't really dedicated a full episode to the hottest craze in the collectibles hobby lately, and that's Top Shot. So we're going to spend a little bit of time today talking about Top Shot. Neither Gary nor I claim to be Top Shot experts. We got in around the same time, probably most of you did. I mentioned that I got in after the Bales tweet, and Gary held out a little bit longer than I did. There's so many great resources out there. Honestly, the Top Shot community is amazing. We just want to talk through this from like a basketball standpoint, and I think we can maybe add a little bit of context around some of the stuff that's going on Top Shot, just given Gary's background in the cardboard world and some of the stuff that he's taught me and my background in the fractional space. So maybe we just give a little bit different perspective and just kind of lean on our strengths today, as opposed to, trying to be Top Shot experts out here. But it's time that we give Top Shot its moment in our spotlight. So we're gonna talk through some Top Shot stuff today.
Yep. I mean, we said from the start, this episode, the series is always going to be about collectibles as a whole. I mean, part of the reason that we probably even got this greenlit was because of how big NFTs and Top Shot were. And we want to give that its due, as you've said. I mean, neither of us are experts, as we say, but we both have been involved in it. We've lined up for pack drops now for months, and we get excited when we hit cool moments. And we're, I think both you and I are still bullish on the potential future of Top Shot and the future of other sports NFTs that are going to be coming up. So definitely excited to talk some Top Shot today.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's the other thing, man. There's going to be, you got to think just with the success that Top Shot has and Dapper has had over the first year of their product, that NFL is going to be coming. MLB's got it. Well, I guess MLB's got the Topps release that we talked about. Yeah. But we know UFC's in the pipeline. So yeah, there's going to be more to come. It makes sense to get a foundational knowledge of Top Shot and things like that. Even if you're not into NBA, there's going to be future products coming. So let's get started on some of the recent stuff that Top Shot has rolled out since we last talked about Top Shot and some of the basic stuff. We mentioned, was it last show or the show prior? We talked about the collector score and what was going to be necessary for upcoming pack drops and to get involved in some of the more high-end stuff. So we got that news from Top Shot. They did their Holo Icon drop, which was a legendary drop, was the stuff that everybody's looking for. It's got the moments that are low serial counts and everything like that. So they bumped the Top Shot collector score, which basically what the collector score is, it's a way to reward committed collectors by granting them access to certain pack drops. That's directly from their blog post. They jumped it from 2,500 as the requirement to 7,500 in order to get involved in the Holo Icon. So what that did is it really reduced the amount of people that were able to qualify. And they've even admitted in their office hours that they want to keep this number, at least for this legendary type stuff, to about 25% chance of securing a pack. So they basically succeeded in doing that. For the Holo Icon drop that just happened, they had about 9,000 accounts that qualified and there were 2,400 packs available. So they've kind of met that ratio, about 25% chance of getting a pack. Now, they did add some bonuses that we should keep in mind for the last collector score update. They added things like set completion bonus, team completion bonus. If you collected a full team, you got a bonus on your collector score. They've had things like the 9 Lives Lounge, which is if you collected all the cool cats plus the LaMelo Master, you got a bonus. They've got a marketplace bonus, which basically if you've lost money on Top Shot, if you spent more money in the marketplace than you've taken out, you get a bonus. I unfortunately do not qualify. Some of you may call me a rent seeker. I'm profitable on Top Shot. I've taken a little bit of money off Top Shot, so I didn't qualify for the marketplace bonus. I didn't qualify for the Holo Icon drop. Did you qualify, Gary?
No, I didn't, but I did get that bonus because don't worry, all you losers in the Top Shot marketplace out there, I'm one of you. So I did have that bonus, but yet I still did not qualify for the Holo Icon pack.
The reason why the collector score, and there's so much that goes on here, and hell, by the time this podcast is released, maybe there's been a change to the collector score requirements that you need. But basically, as you collect moments, you earn points towards your collector score. For example, a base moment for Series 2 is worth 12 points, and so on and so forth. But why that's important is you want to qualify for these. If you're trying to make money or trying to get access to some of these premium collectibles on Top Shot, you want to have access to these legendary pack drops. That's where the money's made. John Jackson, who is great on Twitter, if you're looking for a data resource, posted the expected value of the Holo Icon pack drop. And if you did qualify, you were not disappointed. I can assure you of that. The expected value of the Holo Icon pack drop was pretty insane. So just wanted to get that out off the front. If you're thinking about stuff that's going to be happening in the off season, they've already talked about a Run It Back series, which is I'm sure going to be a legendary or premium pack drop. You're going to want to try and get that collector score up, hopefully as organically as you can, but think through some of those bonuses as well if you're trying to bump up that collector score.
And Cody, the Run It Back series, just so we can, everyone, if they don't know, that's when they might include players that are no longer in the league, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if they've announced who is going to be a part of that Run It Back series, but I think for the first one, it was the 2013 rookie class. So you got like the Giannis and players like that. But yeah, they basically players that are no longer in the league, or they might be in the league, but right. It was their rookie year sometime in the past.
There's both though, right? Like there's Dirk moments and stuff, I believe, right there. So you know, I think, and those you're obviously going to have, a lot of interest in a pretty large market for some of those guys that are Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers, whether they are recently retired or kind of, towards the back end of their career, but are legends already. Exactly.
The other thing that Top Shot has right now, obviously with the playoffs as hot as they are and with the action as hot as it is, they've got a whole playoff series that they've announced, and they've already released one of those. The next release is coming Friday, I believe. So they're going to have moments through the entirety of the playoffs. They've got first round, second round, conference finals, and finals. So the edition sizes, they're common moments. They're around 12,000 circulating count. So those are much more easy to get access to. The pack drop that's coming up on Friday, there'll be about 185,000 total packs, costs $19, and requires a collector score of just 100. So I said 12 collector points for a Series 2 base moment. If you've got 10 of those, you've already qualified.
Did you get a first round of the playoff pack?
I did.
Number one?
I did. Yeah. I got was it Bryn Forbes moment?
Nothing like it. I got Marcus Smart assist. I'm looking at it right now. Worth the juicy $11, but I don't think that pack was that much more than that, right? So,
no. So just about break even.
Yep.
The other thing that they're doing, which is part of the fun of this playoff set, is they've got all those challenges that are going on. I don't know if you followed any of the challenges. The first one was pretty amazing with the Trae shushing the crowd moment. I don't know if you've seen that one yet.
Yeah.
But basically, what you do is you qualify you collect 4 of the moments from the series and 4 common moments from the players in that series, and you're rewarded a challenge moment. So like for Trae, you collected 4 of the playoff moments in the Hawks Knicks series, 4 common moments from those teams, and you were gifted the Trae shushing the crowd moment. So I think that's pretty neat. They're continuing to run those. It seems like they'll be doing those throughout the playoffs. Yep. So yeah, I mean, that's something that I'm obviously excited for. We've seen some of the moments in this playoffs. It's like literally jaw dropping. And it's kind of hit me for the first time. We're like, oh my God, that needs to be on a Top Shot, and I need to own that.
Yeah, they have a Ja Morant one running right now when he had the alley-oop backwards dunk in the air, which I guess, that was an awesome play. And that one's running right now. So it's cool. Yeah, they got, you need to get a Donovan Mitchell in there and a Rudy Gobert, but it's a Jazz Grizzlies combo moment. And I think that's fun. Keeps people engaged. And the moments I think they're doing a good job or a better job now with the challenges, where the moment that you win is more desirable than maybe some of the past challenges.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we're starting to see that, and it could just be more eyeballs because of the playoffs and things like that. But I think we're starting to see that the quality of the moments in these challenges are, I mean, that Trae one was like the first one where I didn't care how much money I lost if I had to complete this challenge. And now I bought one after the fact, but I didn't care how much money I was going to lose if I wanted to complete that challenge. I just wanted to have the Trae moment. And I waited until after the challenge was completed to get that. But that shushing the crowd moment was just incredible. I'm sure that the Valley Oop that we just saw last night from Ayton, maybe the shimmy from Trae that happened tonight, some of that stuff. I mean, it's one of those things that truly is what the product was intended for, in my opinion. It's really incredible.
Agreed. I'm on the other side of the fence than you with the Trae moment, because I don't need to be reminded of him shushing me in the face, because that's what it felt like. But it's fun. And again, it's now we're a couple rounds separated from him beating my Knicks. I'm just in awe of watching that guy play. So it's a good time.
Yeah. Anything else on just like the setting the stage with the collector score changes and the pack drops upcoming, recent pack drops? Anything else we need to get out of the way before we kind of take a look at the market and talk more basketball here?
Not really for me. I mean, I'm just curious to see how this collector score continues to grow. Are we going to see more packs like that Holo Icon pack where you really need to have a high collector score, and it's gonna eliminate a lot of Top Shot collectors from even given the ability to be involved in that pack. I feel like I spent a good amount of money on the product, and I was still a couple thousand points away. So, we'll see. And maybe it'll make me spend more and guy more and really try to get to that collector score level if another legendary pack comes out over the next couple months or whatever it may be that I really want to get involved in. But it's going to be interesting to see how that grows, because it's an interesting market strategy that they're creating for everyone involved. It really is. It's kind of not something that's necessarily normal in the cardboard space, obviously. So
yeah, and I think we talked about it again. I don't remember which show it was a couple weeks ago, but how it almost feels a little bit like manipulation in the sense that, well, if you do go out and spend all this money, you'll qualify for a pack drop that is plus EV in the long run. So in that sense, I understand it. If you take a step back and just think about it as kind of Top Shot's version of a rewards program, is it really all that different from like DraftKings rewarding crowns and things like that? I understand that there's some differences to each one, but it's what Top Shot has decided to do to reward collectors. I do wish if there was a way to adjust the algorithm to make it a little bit more organic, in the sense that, like, if you are collecting the stuff that you want to collect, that you're kind of rewarded more than if you just go out and complete some of the bonuses that I talked about. I know one of the ones I jokingly tweeted that we need to do a podcast just explaining the Top Shot collector score bonus, because there was so much going on. But the full team bonus, if you completed the full team bonus, each moment was worth double, and then you could stack on top of that. So when I thought I was going to qualify for the Holo Icon pack drop before realizing how much money I was going to have to spend, I went out and completed the Timberwolves. I had no interest in collecting the Timberwolves, but if I bought every single moment from the Timberwolves, each one was worth double, and then I could start stacking the cheaper ones, right, and they would be worth more. So that it didn't really feel all that organic in terms of, like, does that make me a true collector? No. But I from that sense, I understand what they're getting for. It's just, again, their version of their reward system.
So I actually ended up doing the same thing with the Knicks, because my thought was, hey, if I'm going to do this, I'd rather at least have the moments of the team. Because like this team, this 2020-2021 team was such an important team to me as a sports fan. I was like, well, at the very least, hey, if I don't even get the score, I have these Knicks moments from this fun season of my life. So that was my thought on that, and I was able to complete the Knicks.
But, so you held it. You held those. You're holding all those.
Yeah, I have them all now. Like I'm like, listen, I want to remember that Derrick Rose and Alec Burks were super fun this season, for the Knicks. So I was like, whatever. It's it's fun. They could sit in my collection. I'm with you on the market manipulation. That's kind of been my thought from the very start with all this stuff with challenges. Now I'm like, the way that they're doing challenges with the playoffs, it's kind of more appealing to me. You need less moments. We just talked about it. The rewards are more exciting. The stuff with the collector score, especially for those really high end packs, it almost feels like to me, instead of crowns with DraftKings, it feels like, hey, go chase this qualifying ticket, like put in a ton of money, try to win yourself a qualifier, and then you're going to get in just because then maybe you'll win even more money. You know what I mean? It's like, that's it. So you're spending, an arm and a leg almost if you haven't been in since the beginning almost. It's so I'm a mixed feelings of it, but I understand what they're trying to do. It puts interest in the market. It pumps money for them. It pumps money into the market, and it keeps the marketplace breathing, honestly. So there is benefits to it, especially if they're going to keep doing consistent pack drops. So.
And the other thing, I mean, just think about how many accounts would have flooded to that queue for a $230 pack that was, probably worth $1,000 at minimum with the moments that were inside that pack. Think about how many accounts would have flooded that. You would have had a, less than 0.1% chance of getting that pack, by the time you got inside the queue. So
yeah,
I understand it. There's going to be some give and take, and we'll still give them credit for being kind of the startup culture and a young company and things like that. So
right.
we'll live with some of the downsides, I guess.
Totally. I honestly, I don't hate on it. I'm more just fascinated by it, and I'm watching it kind of play out in real time, and it's interesting. So.
Yeah, definitely. And that plays into the next thing, the just kind of the macro view of the Top Shot market as a whole and where we're at with the market. We know that we've come down on a big slide from February when things all seemed to be peaking and every moment was reaching its peak. But between May and June, it kind of seems like we've seen some sort of market stability coming off those peaks in February. Like I said, we were sliding for months and months, and it felt like, well, are we ever going to catch a bottom? Things pumped a little bit, and then we kind of came back down a little bit. But again, based on like surface level data that you can look at on any of these number of sites, but I just pulled some stuff from Crypto Slam. It looks like based off of like total sales and total transactions and average sale dollar amount, it looks like we might have kind of found a little bit of a flattening here, and maybe some of that's held up a little bit by playoffs. But I don't know if you compare just like the Top Shot market compared to the cardboard market. Do you think we're I know it's only been a couple months, but do you think we're kind of finding a little bit of a flattening, or do you expect stuff to continue to drop a little bit in the NBA offseason? Or, I mean, what are you thinking going forward for both of these markets, the cardboard market and the Top Shot market?
Well, you just hit it with the Top Shot. Well, what will be most interesting is when we hit a real offseason with this stuff. We haven't had that with, it being such a popular product and a widespread collectible at this point where we've had an offseason with it. So that's going to be really the key. But at least from while basketball's on, I don't think we're going to hit the lows that we hit from a month or two ago because we're in the playoffs at this point. So while you talk just over the next month, while we're still in the playoffs and through the finals, I think if anything, we're just going to see it keep going up. My hope is that we'll carry momentum into the offseason in which we will still not reach those bottoms. We'll see though. It's an off season of a sport, and the collectibles are around the sport that is no longer being played on the court or in real time. So, especially if UFC NFT rolls out, if NFL, if any news comes around about NFL, people shift their focus to baseball a little bit in home stretch. You just never know. That's what we've seen traditionally in the cardboard space, where off seasons are the downtime. Now, obviously, 2020 was an exception to that with the market booming so much, but I do believe now that we've corrected in that space as well, we will see that start to come back to reality where, there's some buying opportunities. We're seeing it a little bit with football right now, and I think we'll see it with basketball as well.
One thing that'll be interesting to me in terms of just the basketball market, I mean, the free agency period, which has always been an incredible time for basketball, and they've done really good about highlighting the transaction around the sport and making it like the NFL does, making it a year-round sport where you have to focus year-round on the sport. But man, free agency looks pretty thin this year. So yeah. I don't know how much interest there will be around the transaction in the offseason to kind of keep the market up a little bit. So that'll be interesting. I've said this before. I don't really want to like try and time a bottom, but yeah, if there's some of the stuff that you're looking at buying, you might have a better buying window in the coming months.
It's very true. That's a great point. We say that about the free agency market, and you just never know what's going to happen. Obviously, this free agency class is a little down, but hey, you never know. Maybe Kawhi calls up Ballmer and says, "I'm out." You just never know. It's this league for a reason, right? Like,
yeah.
And you know what? You're right though. The NBA offseason is almost as popular as the product on court. I love it. And, who knows? People talk themselves into the Kyle Lowry story. Where the hell is he going? Ben Simmons is probably going to get traded now. Like, we'll see when those things time up as far as trades are concerned, but it probably will be a more eventful trade season than free agency season coming up. But, the draft, it's going to be a fun draft. The lottery just happened. We'll talk a little bit about that. They keep the train rolling and the interest will be there. But yeah, we'll see if 1201 kicks off for free agency and there's not a lot of big names involved and the interest is waning, then yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe we can kind of actually time a bottom a little bit. We'll see.
Why don't we just jump into the next topic here, because we want to talk a little bit micro on some of the players that we're interested in, some of the players that have had big playoffs, some of the players that haven't had such great playoffs. You mentioned Simmons. Why don't we just start with Simmons? Because the Game 7 look, the passing up of the dunk, the lack of confidence, the comments afterwards did not look great from Simmons. Seems like he's on his way out in Philly, and he's going to be a big storyline this offseason. I mean, what are your thoughts on Simmons as a player, and what are your thoughts on his market if something does change in Philly?
Hard to imagine he comes back to Philly, right? Especially with Daryl Morey there. Like there's no way he's running this thing back in that case. And what's the big move? No one's taking on Tobias Harris contract, and he had a nice year.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ben Simmons, especially after, there's no other way to say it, just completely wilting, afraid to even take a layup because he's afraid to get fouled. I mean, there's no way around this. And then there's rumors that come out. Stephen A. Smith comes out and he said people close to the organization that were saying that he's hard to deal with and he's lazy, he doesn't try. And, there's just no way he's not coming back. I'd be shocked. So Ben, the card part is finding a trade partner for him. We don't need to get into the weeds with that. But I mean, Ben Simmons, I asked Gallagher, the great Mike Gallagher was on our show a couple of weeks ago. I asked him, I feel stupid asking this question now when Philly was, still in the thick of things. I asked him, what does Ben Simmons need to do to take a leap or do you, not even that. I said, do you see a world in which he can ever be a number one on a team? I mean, what a stupid freaking question now, right? Oh my God. Number one. I mean, can he be a number three?
Right.
Is really the question. So, Ben, if you want to talk about buy and low opportunities, if you still believe in Ben Simmons long-term, you have a window coming up right now, starting now. So
do you think there will be a momentary pump? I mean, there should be, right? We know that the transaction matters in the card world. Will there be a pump when Simmons eventually gets traded, right? Yeah.
Depending on the scenario, but especially if he goes to a lesser team in which they can build around him, just put a lot of shooters and he could be a driver to the rim and, a playmaker, with the ball in his hands. Essentially you make him almost like a Giannis figure where you just put him around a ton of shooters and you let him drive to the basket, be a defensive anchor, and never have to worry about anything else. That's the role for Ben Simmons, right? You let him take layups and dunks and have nice passes and just be surrounded by 3 or 4 shooters, and that's the role for him. We'll see. I mean, I'd imagine most scenarios will be better. I mean, we know at this point him and Joel doesn't work. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So most scenarios will be better for him. We'll see what kind of market he goes to. We'll see what kind of situation he goes to. But yeah, there'll be a pump whenever he does get traded. People still talk themselves into it. I talked about all the reasons on that same podcast. He's a first overall pick who's an international kid who his name has been in our lexicon as basketball fans for 6-7 years now. Talking before he was even a rookie, he's been a big deal in the NBA world. So people don't want to see him fail, I don't think. But it's hard to see his career looking like that superstar mega career that a lot of people had hoped it might be.
Yeah, and there's been a huge coming out party for young stars in this league with the playoffs, and even guys that aren't in the playoffs. Ja got bounced, and Zion, guys that aren't even in the playoffs that aren't top of mind right now. But it's tough to keep considering Ben Simmons a part of that elite group as some of these guys start to break out. So let's talk about the guy that bounced Ben Simmons from the playoffs. What about Trae?
I mean, there's no really other place to start in this conversation around the good side of things than with Trae Young, right? Maybe we'll talk about Devin Booker as well, but those are probably the two cornerstone young superstars in this league that have taken a huge leap in this playoffs, have, really just thrown it all out on the table and said, here I am, and I'm here to stay. Trae is a really interesting guy, right? And I'll throw it back to you in a minute to talk about what some of his Top Shot stuff's doing. But from a cardboard standpoint, the reason that you're not going to see, and his PSA 10 base and his Silver Prism PSA 10 base are stayed pretty stagnant over the last couple of months. And I have a couple theories on that. One, pop counts are super high. So, that's going to keep things going, weighted down with how the market's been. That's one. Two, most people are smart that are selling this stuff. They're going to try to maximize timing windows. So you're going to see a lot more of those cards hit the market right now, which makes sense. So that's the reason this kind of is having a flat line instead of going up, in my opinion. However, where you're going to see Trae stuff go up is the rare stuff, the short printed stuff, refractors, colors, patch autos. That is definitely what you will see. Great, high autograph graded stuff. You're going to see that stuff go up. You already have. I'll talk a little bit about some of that stuff, and we'll compare it to maybe some of his Top Shot stuff. But I've seen a couple flawless rookie patch autograph stuff sell over the last week. And just the base flawless RPA, so on card autograph, nice game worn patch. Those are out of 25, and those gone for both 11.5K and 11.6K. That's a very healthy number for that card. There are lower printed cards of that same card, so you got to expect those would go for much higher. For comparison space sake, at the beginning of May, one sold for around 5K, and that was graded. So we're seeing that double in price ungraded. So you're going to see that short printed patch auto stuff go up. His immaculate rookie patch autograph, which I actually showed on the show, I have one. I have it actually listed on eBay right now for around $6,000. I've had some offers on it. Those are going for around 4K right now, and they were going for around 2 to 2.5 throughout most of the season. So that's doubled. So you're going to see those cards go up. You're going to continue to see them go up. A card like this is just a Contenders rookie ticket autograph. It's on card. So we've talked about Contenders a little bit. This is kind of what the flagship football on-card autographs are. They hold plenty of weight for basketball as well. This is the variation. So this is a Beckett BGS 9.5 with a 10 autograph. I'm seeing up one right now on Probstein that is at 12.25 with 5 days left. I think this card would have maxed out at $1,000 during the season. So again, This will probably go for $2,000 or $3,000. So those cards are healthy. And that's where you're going to see the playoff impact still have plenty of value, which is, what I want to talk about today is there's plenty of on-court player performance that will still impact the market. It's just happening in the places where it should happen, which is the rare stuff, the stuff we know circulation on, the lower pop stuff. So that's where I'm at with Trae. And I think, as long as this run continues, you're going to see that stuff go up. And by the way, if he gets past the Bucks, which is up 1-0 right now, you will see those Prism, especially the silver PSA 10. You'll start to see that go up a little bit as well, because that's a pop around $2,000, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And that's one thing that we've talked about too. Like in an ideal world, in the collectible space, both cardboard and the NFTs can succeed, right? And you've got your choice in how you want to collect. And if you're using this as a way to try and make money too on top of the collection, then you've got your choice of how you want to try and make money, right? So if you just try and compare the two, if you look at Trae's Top Shot debut, has a circulating count of 2978, so just under 3,000. And has a 30-day average price of about $427 for a market cap of $1.2 million. So you mentioned his PSA 10 Prism Silver. That's got a pop count just over 2,000 and is going for an average price of $1,600 for a market cap of $3.4 million. Right. So if you believe in both of these things long-term succeeding, cardboard and NFTs, and you want to buy Trae, you should have a choice of which one you want to buy, thinking long-term financially, right? So you can get Trae's Top Shot debut moment for $427 at about a third of the market cap that you can buy his Prism Silver at, and also at a cheaper price. So that's one way that I think we should start thinking about these things if we think that both markets will succeed. And that's a really good point too by you on just the premium stuff, the higher end stuff. So looking at Trae's MGLE, which is a limited edition out of $299, that thing's up big over the last 30 days too. So back towards like the end of May, that thing was going around $1,600. Just yesterday, that thing sold for about $2,200. So we're up a little bit on just even like his Series 1 MGLEs, which is out of $299. So again, I think if you're in both worlds, if you're in the cardboard world and you're in the Top Shot world, you should be thinking about the best ways to invest in these players if you believe in them, short-term or long-term, to try and maximize your buying windows.
Yeah, I love that point, man. Like, think about that. If you're someone like us that believes in both these spaces, and you want to buy Trae right now, again, I mean, the market is at a place right now where it's down, so you're actually not going to be spending too much of a premium on just his kind of base or silver type rookie stuff. Look, we're looking at similar pops for that debut Top Shot and his silver Prism PSA 10, but you're looking at a difference of $1,000 about of entry point. So if your budget's a little lower, and you believe in what Top Shot could be long term, I mean, what a great place to look if you're trying to buy Trae rookie or debut stuff. It's a great way to get involved, if you want to be in a more affordable price, and especially it's a great way to get involved if you're scared of what base cards are doing right now and you want to stay in that same ballpark, look at Top Shot. Absolutely.
Yeah, such a good point. Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why we've been talking about the market dip lately, is because of the base cards continue to plummet.
Yep.
And I think people are finally starting to wise up to the population counts on some of that stuff. Despite the playoff performances of Trae, you would expect those things to skyrocket, but we know that that just hasn't been the case. Kick it over to the Western Conference. You mentioned Booker. I mean, he had another performance last night. He got his face busted up, looked sick. The Steve Nash comparison, which is time is a flat circle. It's crazy. But talk to me about Booker a little bit.
Again, another guy, man. Like, I don't want to give Chris Paul too much credit on this thing, but like, we were never seeing this out of the old Devin Booker. He was a good stats, bad team guy. And like, look, we saw it in the bubble. They went 8-0 in the bubble, and that kind of clearly kicked this whole thing off. And I give him a lot of credit for that. And he was always a young kid, so there was always that ability to turn the page. But to having a triple double in the first game of a Western Conference Finals game against a good defensive team, I mean, come on. I don't even care if Chris Paul's on the floor, but like what it's just insane. I am so impressed with him. He's got some Kobe in his game. He's got some KD type shots, like those mid-range. He could just kind of basically create it from anywhere. It's very, very, very impressive. He's young. He's on a good team that has sustainability. There's a lot to like about Devin Booker short and long term. And the market's reflecting it, right? So obviously his stuff is lower pop, as given that his prism was from, we're talking 2015, I believe.
Yeah, 2015.
So, his base is a safer play than what you're going to get the modern day base, right? So his pop prism PSA 10 base is only 1459, so around 1500. That's very, very low.
Oh yeah, you'll
modern day base, right?
Yeah, you'll live with that when you're looking at Luka's prism 10 at like 18,000. So yeah, 1500 is quite low.
So for something like that, which again, we talk about this, the reason why the market's taking these hits is because of pop counts on modern day base cards, on ultra modern day base cards. So for something like that, 1500, 2015, we're seeing nice growth, right? 1 month, 30% climb on that. And it's peaked after the triple double at like what, 1150, almost 1115, something like that. So we're talking that a base Devin Booker card hitting that 4-figure number. That's healthy, man. That's good. You like to see that. And I see why. I mean, the product speaks for itself on the court.
Oh, for sure. And likewise, his Series 1 moment, it's got a circulating count a little bit higher. That 2681 for that circulating count, that jumped 28% over the last 7 days. So yeah, you're really seeing it for these players that are performing well. And it's kind of what we've built this show on, right? We want to be able to analyze these things, try and help predict these things, and try and figure out when these moments or when these cards are going to be at their highest in value or when they might be at their lowest in value, and try and find points to buy and sell to try and maximize those windows. So why don't we just take a macro step and step back a little bit? We've talked Trae, how his prices are up and Booker's prices are up and Simmons' prices are down. Just talk about how important on-court and on-field performance, both from a team and a player perspective, is for these collectibles.
To me, it's still huge. It's hard to look at anything like that from a macro, like super, super large macro point of view. But if you're talking a day, 3 days, a week, a series, 2 weeks, it's going to happen. It's somebody that's literally in those eBay streets selling those things in real time. I promise you. We're going to talk about guys like Terance Mann and stuff coming up here, but I promise you, what is happening on the court is impacting the hype, the price, the views on eBay, the watchers on eBay, the number of bids. It's happening in real time, and it will continue to happen in real time, especially when either a star or a budding star has a flagship game, or a guy that is young and has a lot of potential has a breakout game in the playoffs. When it's happening on the national stage, people get excited, the market bumps, even if it's only for a couple days. You still have that opportunity to take advantage. And I'm happy to see that still happening. And, both from a one game perspective or a full playoff. So like guys we just talked about, like Booker and Trae, or even someone like DeAndre Ayton, who we've spoken a little bit about on this podcast as well, former first round pick. Something's happened with his market that I'm really encouraged by. One, he's completely breaking out in this playoffs. You really love to see it. He just had probably the play of the playoffs so far with the Valley Oop winner. But we talk a lot about base. Almost every ultra modern dice base prism PSA 10 is down. You know whose isn't? DeAndre Ayton, and that's a pop of 37.50. So it's not as crazy as his counterparts from the 2018 class, but still, it's not nothing. And it's back over $100, which you love to see for what's happening with the base cards right now. And over the last 2 weeks, it's up 12%. And it continues to, if you look at the graph, it's going up. So you're going to still see it. It's going to happen in the playoffs. The on-court performance is going to impact the market.
All right. Anyone else you want to quick hit on as far as playoff stars or scrubs? Anyone else that truly disappointed you, or anyone else that's still in the playoffs that you've seen a lot from?
Yeah, I mean, Giannis, you as you said, you messaged me tonight. He was doing his thing in the Eastern Conference Finals game 1. You love to see it. I really want to see him continue to do it. I want to see this be a great series. If he can get past this Hawks team now, he's obviously dug himself a little bit of a hole. I truly think just him getting to a finals would be very, very big for a monkey off his back, big for his legacy. If he can win a finals, it's monumental. We're taking his market long-term into a completely different stratosphere. I would like to see it. I'm invested in his stuff. He's still very high end. He's still someone that's a top 5 player in the league. So, I want to see him continue to do that. Somebody else that I just thought was interesting to me is Paul George. His stuff, Kawhi goes out. He has every opportunity in the world to take a leap, and you start to see it, right? You start to see maybe playoff P come alive, or maybe just be born, because it's a new thing for all of us. But what happened last night, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, before the value in Ayton's game winner, Paul George missed 2 free throws that could have put the game away, or at least could have secured overtime, and missing both. And I'm just worried to see how he's going to come back from that. I really am. Yeah,
you see playoff P. You really do see playoff P, and then it's clank. And it's like, oh God, pandemic P is back, and here we go again. And it's so tough to take that away from his performance, in that last game. But it's not fair
almost. But
it's not fair. But these are the legacy defining things that when you look back on it, you're gonna realize that he was without Kawhi, went down 0-2. I mean, they're probably gonna get Suns in 4, right? Suns in 4. So it's gonna be a tough look for him long term. Why don't you need to take the other guy on that squad. You need to talk about Terance Mann for a second, because you've got some cardboard stuff of Terance Mann, and talk about maximizing a selling window and taking some profits off the table. Why don't you tell the people about your your Terance Mann love?
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to say from the start, Terance Mann's a guy that I've liked for a long time. He was one of those guys that we talked about this a little bit too, like taking shots on NBA players, because if they're, especially in the modern day NBA, where like there's guys throughout both rounds that have a lot of potential. We talk about Poku in the middle of the first round. A lot of guys were trying to speculate on Sekou Doumbouya, late first, or late lottery. Just high upside guys. Mann was one of those guys that I was buying a little bit, just because first of all, I liked what I saw at Florida State, and there was always rumblings from the Clippers that they liked him a lot. Anytime he did get on the floor, he's looked good. To see what he did in the playoffs a couple games ago, where it's just literally looked like he'd been doing this for 15 years in the playoffs and just go absolutely bonkers. I wouldn't have expected that. That said, I do have a good amount of Terance Mann. A lot of it I just have from collecting during the time of his rookie year with Zion. He was in Zion's class. And, this is a great time to talk about what I like to do for my play, like what I'm selling in the playoffs. So the way, and then I'll talk about specifically what's happening with Terance Mann. But what I like to do is, obviously I'm selling and buying all the time, but a lot of the way that I sell is all the time I'll be making drafts of cards on eBay. So like I'll take the pictures, I'll make the listing, but won't list it. So I do that all the time. And then I'll have them ready to go so that I'll have a computer in front of me when I'm watching the games. And as the games get down to the wire, get closer, or if somebody started to break out more, maybe I'll make one of those listings go live, right? So when Terance Mann the other night, I had about 4 or 5 Terance Mann's listings ready to go. Immaculate rookie patch autographs, premium immaculate rookie patch autographs. So these are acetate, nice cards, shiny, on-card autographs. It's over there somewhere. I'm going to show you some other Terance Mann stuff. On-card autographs with patches, RPAs. So this is high end. Again, the same stuff we were talking about that you'd expect to see go up. So so he has the game of his life in the playoffs, and I throw them up. And like, just to talk about the market being indicative of the performance, I was getting hits on these cards from a views perspective, from a watchers, and from a bids and offers perspective that I haven't gotten on cards in months.
Wow.
Like really just crazy. So I did a little thing where I put 2 Terance Mann rookie patch autograph cards on eBay right now. Just as a little experiment. I did one at an auction and one at a buy it now. just because I wanted to see what kind of, it's always good to see when like a guy surprises like that, to see what might pop. And the auction card, I started at 99 cents, just let it go. It got up to like 450 out of nowhere. This is a card that I don't think I could have got $150 for in the middle of the season. So, and it's not done yet. It got a couple days left. The other card I put up for $1,000 buy it now, and I have offers around $550. That one's a little bit lower serial number. So we'll see. But either way, the fact that I'm about to get between $400 and $700 for 2 Terance Mann cards, I'm about to make what, $1,500 on 2 Terance Mann cards.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they're nice middle second round pick, who had just one great game. And people are going crazy because he showed the goods in the playoffs, and that's what you're going to continue to see happen. So I have a lot more Terance Mann. I have a bunch of more drafts. If more stuff happens for him in the playoffs, that'd be great. So I do have what would be considered his flagship rookie patch autograph card. I did not put this one up. Maybe I will. We'll see. This is just his National Treasures true rookie patch autograph. So that's out of 99. You can see it's the vertical, and it's on card autograph with the jumbo patch in the window there. That is going to be like the flagship of an RPA. So I have that card as well, which is obviously, if I did put that up on that same night, would have, I'm sure, gotten a ton of love. So it's good to see that kind of stuff still happening in real time. So don't tell me the hobby's dead when people are willing to spend $500 to $1,000 on a Terance Mann card because he had 30 points in a playoff game,
Yeah, and I love that you're willing to sell that stuff when everyone else is rushing to buy and trying to maximize that window. It's brilliant, and some of the stuff that you can do with some of these players that are left in the playoffs, because we've talked about it off air, but you can find windows on these guys that they're going to be cheaper in the offseason, right? Well, listen, in some cases.
If I want to buy Terance Mann again, there will be opportunities for me to buy Terance Mann again, right? Like, we have the offseason coming up. Even if he leads the Clippers to a championship, there will be a time when he gets hurt or something, knock on wood, whatever. He's going to have down windows in his future. He's not there's still Paul George and Kawhi Leonard there. Like, he's going to have times where you can pick up that stuff again, even if it's higher than what you ever expect to pay for, but it's lower than you're selling for now, right? Which is what the same thing we're going to talk a little bit about buy or sell. Like, to me, Trae Young right now, especially if he gets to the finals, and I mean, there's no reason to think he can't. That guy's a sell. He's going to be a sell, especially for the stuff that we were talking about, the patch auto stuff. That's or rare stuff. That's going to be a sell right now, because there will be an opportunity for you to buy back into the Trae Young market at some point, whether it's early next season or whatever it may be. If the Hawks get to the finals and just get it off to a disappointing start next year, or if we just hit the lull of the offseason, there's going to be a time to buy Trae Young again. So maximize those sales windows. You don't know when they'll come around again. Like, that's what this market's all about. There was another guy like that, Kevin Huerter. That's my guy. He's a Terp. I'm a Terp. So that's actually somebody that I've kind of PC'd a little bit, not to the extent of RJ. So like, I'm not afraid to let that stuff go. Did the same thing. I had a gold out of 10 rookie patch autograph of him from Immaculate. Put that up when he had his game 7 that he had, which basically let the Hawks advance. And that also taken off. It's already at like $400 for Kevin Huerter RPA. Feel very good about that. So, that stuff will continue to happen. I have some other Kevin Huerter stuff that I like. Here's a Mojo PSA 10 Prism rookie. So these are out of 25.
Very cool card.
Yeah, I love that guy, and I like to see him do well like he's doing right now.
Yeah, he was Kevin tonight, not Kayvon, right? Mm-hmm. Did you see that clip?
He had a couple Kayvon moments in the second quarter, but I think he ended up as Kevin at the end of the game.
Rough. They snuck out the W. That's all that matters. You mentioned a few things that I think we should touch on, because I think it's where you can for sure add a ton of value to the Top Shot discussion. Yep. Being a cardboard guy and knowing as much as you do about that space. You mentioned how the RPA stuff is the stuff that we expect to go up, and how the Prism base stuff is the stuff that we don't expect necessarily to hold as much value long term. I'm curious, just your sense, looking at the Top Shot landscape and looking at the marketplace. What are the moments that you're looking at that you expect to hold value long-term? This can be your micro take, your macro take. You could say it could be all related to serial number or mint count or just having superstars. Just curious what your general stance is on like what's going to hold value long-term. If Top Shot is to succeed in 10 years, what will be worth the most on the platform?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And so for me, like what I've been buying up a little bit in the dip of Top Shot is the triple badge rookie stuff. Like if I'm going to speculate, and just my background being in cardboard, obviously, to me, that's the stuff that should have the longest term sustainability. And the triple badge rookie, meaning it's his first Top Shot moment, it's his first rookie, it's a rookie moment, and it's his first. What am I missing there?
So it's Minted in his rookie year.
Minted in his rookie year, right?
Yeah,
right.
and rookie moment and Top Shot and
right.
and his debut game.
Right. So for me, that's the stuff I'm looking at. And then I go back and forth on the value of Series 1 versus Series 2 versus future series stuff. Like, and I think this is a great point for us to have a conversation. Like, do you think if you're buying a superstar card, is it long term? Do you think it'll be better to have a lower serial and lower circulation count Series 2 card, or a higher circulation, higher serial number Series 1 card? Like, that's where I'm still trying to parse through what I think is a better buy.
Yeah, personally, I think the Series 1 stuff, that's like been a big strategy of mine, a big point of mine. I think the Series 1 stuff, and I think that is less related to like what cardboard collectors would think and more towards like the NFT space. I think the people that come from the NFT space will think this is the first series of, the first true sports collectible, the first officially licensed sports collectible. And so that will hold value in that sense, just like the CryptoPunks have held value and things like that from the NFT space. I think that that's going to hold more value long-term. So it might be higher serial numbered or might be higher circulating count from Series 1, but I think it'll be more valuable than Series 2. But I'm totally with you on the 3-badge rookie stuff. And like you said, coming from the cardboard space, we know that the rookie card is the most sought after card. I mean, the other stuff hardly, unless it's shorter printed stuff, hardly holds any value. So like I'm thinking base stuff for non-rookies going forward will be pretty low. And when they get into Series 3 and Series 4 and the circulating counts get up to 50, 100, 200,000, I think that stuff's obviously going to be very, very cheap. And the stuff that we're looking at in Series 1 and Series 2 is going to look really short printed.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you look at a lot of those 3-badge rookies on Top Shot are Series 2 moments, but they're 4,000 circulation count, right? So
yeah,
which is great. Like I have a couple Quicklies because that's my guy. I bought up a bunch of Pokus when he was at like $50. That's at 72 right now. So I think there's opportunities there, and that's still not, the Quickly one's at 103. He's a New York kid who showed a lot of flash, right? Like there's buys, I think, in that 3-badge rookie range when you're talking about a 4,000 circulation count. As you said, we're going to see a lot of 50,000, maybe more in the future. I'm just to circle back on the Series 1 thing. I'm with you. It's interesting comparing that to a cardboard space because I do think that is more exclusive to NFTs. However, we don't really see it in modern day cardboard. Like Bowman still releases a first edition product. It's all paper. It doesn't necessarily hold as much value. You're not going to see that first edition product release if I'm comparing Series 1 to a first edition, right?
Right.
However, where you do see it is when it's actually the beginning of something. So Pokemon, I don't know that much about it, admittedly, but the first edition 1999 stuff, if you have a first edition Charizard 1999, it's going to be a lot more than the regular 1999 Holo Charizard. So I do know that that's the case. Not to mention, I think the comparison on the cardboard side would be just like the Honus Wagner, right? Like the first ever rookies, the first ever printed baseball stuff that was circulated and important, and just stuff from the 30s and 40s and 20s. I think that's the way you can compare that stuff. And you do see that stuff hold nostalgia value, hold just being rare and just having a lot of like auction value. So I think you're right. I think that is, if this is something that's around for, or that has legs for 20, 30, 40, 100 years, I think you're right. I think people are going to seek out that Series 1 stuff.
Yeah, and I wonder because, they had to start somewhere, right? They had to start with a season at some point, and they necessarily aren't going to have rookie moments for guys going all the way back. So they might not have a LeBron rookie moment. I wonder going forward, like, are those rookie moments from, like, is Cade Cunningham's rookie moment going to be at 4,000? Or is Cade Cunningham's rookie moment going to be at 10 or 20, or, you know what I mean? So that's one thing, like looking at and we can get into buy and sell now because a lot of my guys are those 3-badge rookies. There's one from Series 1 that I like, and a guy that I've talked a lot about, unfortunately. But I'm curious going forward if that's going to stay at 4,000 or if we're going to start seeing future rookie classes as the product grows and as the user base grows, have higher circulating counts, making these current rookies from Series 2 even more valuable.
What a great point. Yeah, that's fascinating, right? Like to me, I almost hope that like when Cade and Mobley in the 2020, 21, 22 class comes out, I hope they keep it at that 4,000, 5,000 number. Like to me, that's cool. Like that first 3-badge rookie, that's 5,000 or less. Like I would love if they keep that around that. That would be cool to me. And it would create a rarity. It would, keep the interest in those moments high. And then you could still release their second moment at 35,000 or whatever. But to keep that first ever minted one at 10,000 or 5,000 or less, I think that would be a cool strategy for them to go with.
Yeah. Well, the lottery happened yesterday. We kind of have an idea of who's going where, right? At this point with looking at mock drafts, but we got locked in lottery. We know which teams are picking where. Any of the current moments on the Top Shot platform that you think could see any sort of shift based off of the lottery, the way the lottery ball shook out? For anyone that wasn't paying attention, the Pistons got the 101, Raptors 102, Cleveland 103, Rockets fourth, Wolves fifth. The Wolves fell out, right?
Wolves
So it
fell
was
out.
after, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So what does it look like for some of those teams that'll be picking towards the top half of the lottery? Do you think any of the current rookies or young guys on those squads will see a big shift with the way the lottery shook out?
Yeah, so let's start with the Pistons, who got the number one pick, which means that they won the Cade Cunningham lottery, literally. Congratulations to them. I think that actually, so they got a 4 rookie class from this past year, all of whom got real minutes. It definitely impacts some of those guys, and I think we actually have real buy sell opportunities right off the bat, just based off the fact that they're getting Cade Cunningham. It's an interesting situation. Killian Hayes, which was their big French lottery pick, point guard rookie. There's no way to look at him as a winner in this. There's just not. He's a ball handler, ball first guard who needs the ball in his hands to succeed, to be a playmaker. Cade Cunningham's going to take that role from him. Mm-hmm. There's just no really way around it. To me, that's a guy that I'm probably staying away from unless you love that guy long term. I don't know enough about him. He got hurt. He came back at the end of the year. He looked a little bit better than he did when he was healthy at the beginning of the year. I think a lot of people like his potential. Kevin O'Connor of the Ringer had him as his number 1 overall prospect last season. So there are people that are certainly Killian Hayes believers. If you are one of those guys, there's a chance at, hey, maybe they can play together. You don't know. I don't know that much about Cade Cunningham to say that they can't, but maybe he's a buy for you as that market dips in speculation or when Cade gets drafted. But to me, I want to talk about guys that I think are going to benefit from Cade Cunningham. And those are the other 2 rookies that both of which I believe made all rookie teams, Saddiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart. Saddiq Bey looked great. Showed a lot as a wing that could shoot, that can create his own shot as well. And to me, if you're bringing in one of the best playmakers to come out in a long time, and Cade Cunningham, I think there's no reason to think that he can't benefit those attributes for Saddiq Bey. So that's a guy that I'd be looking at as a potential buy. And then Isaiah Stewart, we talked about big men. He's kind of more of a burly, protect the rim, but can get up high, block shot guy. Another guy that, pick and rolls with Cade Cunningham could benefit a little bit. I'm never big on buying big men, but just in general, if you want to talk about NBA outlook, could benefit. So the Pistons, right off the bat, have guys that are going to be impacted. Jeremy Grant's the interesting one, as somebody that just committed today to play for Team USA. So obviously people around the league still think highly of him. Had a little bit of a breakout season this past year, putting up numbers on a bad team. We'll see how he comes in. I wouldn't do one thing or the other with if you have Jeremy Grant stuff right now.
Yeah. So Saddiq Bey doesn't have one of those 3-star rookies that we mentioned. His is out of 12,000.
Right.
Ellie. So that one's pretty cheap. $24. On the Top Shot marketplace right now. And Isaiah Stewart, you got a guy you mentioned. And that's another thing that I wonder about comparison to cardboard and Top Shot. We've talked about how big men have a tough time breaking through. They've really got to be transcendent, and like guys like Jokic and Embiid and they've even struggled to really break through in their markets. So Isaiah Stewart, $49, his 3-badge rookie, 4,000 circulating count. So yeah, there's moments out there right now. I guess Saddiq Bey has a Holo Icon from Series 2 that's listed at 1360 right now. So interesting stuff there. That one's out of 99.
That's not bad.
The Raptors snuck in. They kind of come out a big winner here. We mentioned Lowry off the top. Is Lowry going to be out and one of these guards going to come in for him?
I think this just locks up Lowry being out. I think everything was leaning towards that anyway. He's going to get one big payday on the market. It's a weak free agency class. A lot of people can use that veteran, that point guard. I'm sure the Knicks will be interested in Kyle Lowry. He is somebody that has had a great career, but they have a young, good nucleus, and they're about to add one of these elite playmaking guards to it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Suggs go there, which I think would be great next to Van Vliet, and that guy's a killer. And just see the Raptors turn this thing around in 1 year, I wouldn't be surprised at all. So I don't know how that really impacts them long term, other than just, hey, Kyle Lowry's probably almost definitely moving on.
What about Cleveland? Because there's a guy in Cleveland that I'm kind of in on, and it stems from a Cleveland.com article, which is probably not a good reason to be in on a player. But I'm kind of a buyer in the year 2 leap for Garland. He had a pretty good sophomore season. So if they get one of those top guards in the draft, do you think that saps his value? And should I wait on buying Garland?
No one has better lottery luck than the Cleveland
Oh
Cavaliers.
my
I mean,
gosh.
it's actually unbelievable. Like I don't know. I don't know what they're doing over there, but they're doing something right, I guess. Um, yeah, I don't know what they do here because I mean, logic says that they take a guard based on what this draft class is looking like, unless they want to go Kaminga just to satisfy those two young guards that are both looking up their careers. Garland looked good, as you mentioned. I don't know what they do. I don't know what they do. I mean, if you take the guard, is there a chance that one of those guys is out? It's certainly possible, and it's kind of a situation that I just want to stay away from right now. Garland, I like. Garland's an interesting guy that has a market in cardboard. His actual just like base and silver rookie stuff, and just any kind of good base rookie of Darius Garland actually holds a lot more weight. Fun fact about Darius Garland, he did not sign on with Panini last year, so he has no autographs. So basically, people really seek after his colored and refractor stuff if they're Darius Garland collectors. So he's an interesting guy, and he looks really good, and I like his long-term outlook. I don't know what Cleveland does if they have that 3-guard system going on, though.
Yeah, his Top Shot stuff. He's one of those that's Series 1 rookie. He doesn't have the 3 badge, but he's got the 2 badge plus a Top Shot debut on Series 1. His Series 1 debut common moment, is at a $39.99 and is currently going for $88. So again, who knows what happens in the draft? Maybe you wait till after the draft. If they pick one of those forwards that is a better fit, if they want to continue to roll with Sexton and Garland, maybe he sticks with his opportunity there and continues to get usage.
Yeah, and maybe if they love Sexton and Garland so much, maybe they trade back, and pick up some more picks for the future. So who knows? You got to wait and see. But these are all it's good to speculate on this stuff because maybe there is some buying windows for guys that can be impacted. Which this is the biggest one for me, and this is pure Gary just going off of the rails that I'm going to speculate. But the Rockets got the number 2 pick. Good for them. Their tanking worked. They're almost definitely going to take Evan Mobley. This is a 1 and 2. Cade Cunningham's 1, Evan Mobley's 2 in this class. That's pretty much consensus at this point. To me, that's very interesting because if I'm the Rockets, I am trading Christian Wood. Reason being, contract's amazing. People will give up a lot for him. He's still young, but the Rockets are very, very far away. He's not so young where he's like 21 and they can use him to build this as just like this cornerstone with Mobley. Plus they play the same position. To me, if I'm the Rockets, I'm trading Christian Wood and who knows where he goes. Cause I think the people that would be interested in him are contenders, are guys that can take on that contract cause it's not that bad. And would be getting a guy that when he's healthy is, really, really on the up and up. I don't know if they're going to do that. Who knows? He's a super, super talented, still young kid. But to me, that's the move I would take. I would go full on process, rebuild with the Rockets and build around Mobley and trade Wood. But that's what I would do if I was them. Curious your thoughts there.
Yeah, I like Mobley, and I think that makes a ton of sense. And he would have a huge market, I would think, as kind of that crazy athletic big man, super long, and especially being the 102. Yeah, it would make sense. That would be his team, right? Because like you said, they're so far out that he would be the kind of the center stone of their rebuild. And the people that I trust that understand the draft process and understand the prospecting are pretty high on him too. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I love Mobley. So
that's all to say that if Mobley goes, I like him future too as well. I think he could be a superstar, a team built around him. And if they were to eventually, whether it's this year or next year, move on from Christian Wood and he goes to a contender, I think there's going to be buying opportunity there too because he's not a traditional big man either. He could do a bunch of different things. Thing with him is he doesn't have that many cards out there in existence, so he's somebody that maybe you turn to Top Shot for, and I think it could be a buy for sure in the future for Christian Wood.
Yeah, definitely. Anything else that happened yesterday with Lottery Night that interests you?
No, the Wolves shouldn't have started winning at the end of the season. They're idiots. They shot themselves in the foot just to have a little team camaraderie and I don't know what they're doing, but who knows? They're not going to be good. The Magic. They have very bad lottery luck. I feel terrible for them. That sucks. I mean, at least they have 5 and 8, but they should have been in that top range. They full on tanked. So yeah, we'll see. I'm excited for the draft. I love the NBA offseason. It sounds like we both do. It's silly season and it's very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's hit buy sell quick before we hop out of here. Any guys that let's just do rapid fire. Any guys you're interested in buying right now, or are you going to wait for the offseason?
No, I'd start buying Luka now. Right when he gets eliminated. Yeah. His stuff is hitting lows that it really has never hit before since his stuff's been slabbed up. Again, I would still stay away from base, even though it's hitting crazy, crazy lows for what his stuff is. I mean, he just dipped under $700. You can get high 600s for what I think is the first time, really, as long as I could remember. That was a card that was still in the four figures, even when we started this podcast. So he's down 26% over the last month, but that is a pop of 17,000, right? We talked about that. However, the silver prism for me is definitely a buy because it's only a pop of 2,000. Now we're not talking like that's not a super, super low pop, but it's manageable. And that just went under 4,000 for the first time. Now, I know that's not necessarily in everybody's budget. I completely understand. But if it is, to me, there might be some more room there a little bit, but I don't see that card getting to like $3,000. A silver prism PSA 10 of $2,000 for the best young player in the league, to me.
Yeah.
That's, and that was $6,000 like a month ago. So we're down. You can get a $2,000 discount on just a peak from a month ago. I'm starting to buy Luka soon, and I probably will continue over the next month or two.
Yeah, and speaking of huge differences on pop reports and circulating counts, his Top Shot debut moment has a circulating count of 3,524, and is only $600 right now. So again, if you believe in both products long term and you want to invest in Luka, and your budget isn't quite up to that $3,000-4,000 level, think about looking at Top Shot, because if he opens next year as an MVP favorite, and maybe, who knows what the Mavs do this offseason? Seems like it's things are getting pretty weird in the Mavs front office. Yeah, maybe they make some changes and they open up as a serious contender again too. So consider that if you want to get invested in Luka this offseason. His Top Shot debut has a circulating count of around 3,500, only $600 right now. So it seems pretty affordable to me.
Love that. Any buys for you?
One guy that I hate to continue to talk about, but he kind of fits my whole investment thesis on Top Shot, and that's RJ Barrett. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Again, I keep talking about your guy, but, Series 1 base moment, circulating count under 3,000. The low ask is super low, 359. You can pick up a few of them. He's the lone Series 1 3-star rookie, right? So he's got he's in Series 1, which I love. Low circulating count, which I love. 3-star rookie, which I love. New York kid, showed me enough last season that I think I can still talk myself into his long-term potential. So yeah, I'm in on RJ, both cardboard and Top Shot, and I think that everything about RJ's moments on Top Shot, especially the Series 1 debut stuff, just kind of fits my thesis around what I believe is going to hold value long term. So if RJ is legit in a couple years, I think the fact that he's got that 3-star rookie and is a Series 1 guy is going to be extremely valuable.
Yeah, he just turned 21 last week, so he just had his first drink, which is very exciting. Congratulations, RJ. He's a baby and he's my guy. And I can't believe that moment's that low. You said 359. I still never picked one up. But I'm going to right now while we're on the podcast. No, I'm literally going to buy one tonight. So I'm very excited to own that moment. That's great. You can actually, I'm seeing 375 right now for the that's the one out of 2882, right?
2882. Yep.
Yeah. I've seen 375 as a low S, but I also see one for 405 for serial number 368. Like, that looks nice to me. Maybe I'll just buy that one. Yeah, that's great, man. I love RJ. Quickly, because we don't like to go over an hour, and here we are over an hour because you and I like to chat. But I talked about Trae. We don't have to rehash that. To me, sell now. You can buy again later. That's what I'm doing with Trae. The guys like Herter and Mann, we talked about, you got to sell them when these opportunities arise. You gotta. Unless you're talking Top Shot, Terance Mann's first Top Shot, I think, is $15. If you like Terance Mann, go for it. I love that. Buy Terance Mann on Top Shot. But on cardboard, you got to sell that stuff. Anything else buy, sell for you?
No, he was the main one. I mentioned Garland. All the Series 2 rookies that are at 4,000. Who knows what's going to happen with this next rookie class? If that thing opens up massive, because they've got so many more users, they've got to try and get moments in their hands, then that Series 2 stuff just seems like super biased for me. But yeah, even like LaMelo, we don't know what his pop's going to be, but I would not be shocked if that thing, based off of print runs, if that thing doesn't touch 20,000. I mean, if Luka's was at 17, 18, if LaMelo's Prism base cards touch 20,000, I really wouldn't be shocked. So getting his 4,000 LE Top Shot debut moment for $600 makes a ton of sense to me. And then all those guys that, Gallagher did a quick hitter on episode 8, I believe, episode 7, and just talked through a ton of guys, rookie guys that he liked. Poku and Obi and some of these guys that didn't necessarily have great rookie years, but showed enough that he can believe in them. Maybe takes a step next year. So all those guys are extremely cheap on Top Shot and kind of fit the criteria that we're interested in terms of like long-term holds.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you there. Yeah, it's exciting. There's a lot of good young players in the league, so I'm excited to see how all that stuff. I'll push back quickly on the LaMelo thing. The only reason I think maybe that pop won't get as high is PSA is doing all these rules to discourage sending base cards, which I think is going to work. As
Good
far
point.
as limiting types of submissions that they're going to have. I wouldn't be surprised to see this continue to do this throughout the future, by the way. Like, hey, we're not taking we're not taking ultra modern stuff right now. We're not taking super value, whatever. I wouldn't expect to do that. One, two, Prism Hobby and retail came out at such an expensive number this year. I think that just less of it has been ripped. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that number be down. Now, if you were lucky enough to get a LaMelo color Prism rookie, spend the $300, send it to PSA if it looks good. If it tends, sell it right now. I've seen like an orange on Golden, I think was at like 13.5K. That's out of 49.
That stuff is insane.
Like what? An orange Prism rookie for LaMelo? Like that should never be over 5 figures right now. Seriously. Like that's probably gonna finish at like 20, 30 grand.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Like get that stuff graded, sell it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's easy. I don't really have much else. I think this was a fun episode. It's fun to shoot the shit.
Yeah, I love talking hoops with you. It's always a blast. Really good to get this Top Shot episode out of the way and talk about Top Shot. It feels like we kind of put Top Shot on the back burner as both of us are more in the cardboard space. So love talking Top Shot. I love the Top Shot platform. I think everything that we've talked about is going to be successful. Top Shot, cardboard, fractional. It's just a good time to be in the industry right now, even as things are kind of settling in a little bit. But we knew that was going to happen, right?
Yep, absolutely. My last thing for you: have you watched any more of the F1 Drive to Survive?
No, I'm distracted by NBA playoffs, you know. But no, how far along are you?
I finished the docuseries and I watched the French Grand Prix on Sunday. I am all in. I love F1. Everyone should watch F1. Max Verstappen had an excellent win in the last lap against Lewis Hamilton. Just good stuff. There's a lot of great strategy that gets involved there. Red Bull, they did a 2-pit. They stopped twice where Mercedes only did once. They have their tires were done by the end of the race. Red Bull took advantage. It's great. Everyone should watch the docuseries and get into F1. I can't wait. I'll show you off some of my F1 cards next week.
You're an expert. You're an expert already.
I do. Look at
this. Okay, can you give us an update on the Hamilton card? Are you still holding on to it? Have you got any big offers yet?
Still holding. You and I were just talking off air how both of our lives have been incredibly busy over the last week and a half. So unfortunately, I haven't had a real chance to source it out and network it out as much as I would like. But next week, I plan on doing that. I still have some offers that I'm considering, but next week I'm planning on shopping it around more. So I'll hopefully have an update for you guys.
Perfect. Speaking of next week, we've teased giveaways in the past, and Gary gave away a Trae Young that. Talk about a timely giveaway. You crushed that for our listeners.
Yeah.
We want to do something else for you guys, but you got to pump those numbers up. You guys got to go out there, subscribe, rate, review. If you've stuck with us for an hour and 7 minutes now, come on.
Help us out. Tell your friends. We greatly appreciate it. It's the only way we can keep growing this thing. And you guys have been loyal to us, and we really, really appreciate it. If you can tell someone if they like sports, if they like cards, if they like just two guys that are great looking, do it for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and we really do. We really appreciate you guys being here. You take an hour out of your day. You've got all kinds of content you could listen to, but you choose to listen to us. So we want to reward you. I've got a 1999 Upper Deck Incredible pack that I received from Rally Road. I want to give that away next week. Get those rate and reviews up there for me, please. I want to see some nice comments. I want to feel good about myself. Compliment Gary and I on our looks, or just tell us what you want to hear content wise. I mean, it's just be honest with us. But no, okay, we'll give that away at the front end of next week's episode. Hopefully, we'll be recording a little bit sooner than Wednesday night. But yeah, subscribe, rate, review. We will be here next week. We appreciate you spending an hour of your night with us. And for Gary, I'm Cody. We'll see you next week.
Peace out.